Okay, so this is lesson 2, which talks about operations with integers. So by the end of this lesson, you are going to be able to perform certain operations with integers. You definitely have done this topic last year, so it should be a little bit of a review, but I'm going to obviously teach it to you like you've never learned it before. So the first definition part here in our vocabulary is integers, which we did in lesson 1, and integers are whole numbers and their opposites. So, for example, -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, and 3. And I'm going to put ... on both ends because you have to understand it goes on forever in both directions. So the next definition here, or vocabulary word, is signed numbers. And signed numbers are numbers that have a plus or positive for positives and a negative for negatives. So the reason why this definition is on here, and I know it seems kind of silly, like we know this, but you have, or you can have, signed numbers or numbers that are not whole numbers. So you could have, for example, like -2/3, right? That's a signed number. It's not an integer, but it's a signed number. So now we're going to talk about adding and subtracting these types of numbers. So the rules for addition. So when you have, or when you're adding integers that are the same sign, the rule is you add them and you keep the sign. So for example, so that's 1 and 2. So for example, let's just say we do -3 plus a -5, right? We have the same sign, they're both negative, so we add 3 plus 5, which is 8, and we keep the negative symbol because it's there. Same way if we did, let's just say +2 plus +4. 2 plus 4 is just +6. Okay, now what if we have different signs? So different signs, okay, we are going to subtract our numbers. So we're going to subtract, and then what we're going to do is keep the sign of the larger number. So let's say, for example, we have 3 plus -4. We're going to subtract those numbers. 4 minus 3 is 1. And 4 is a larger number than 3, and it's negative, so we say -1 is our answer. If I do 8 plus -2, again, I'm subtracting. 8 minus 2 is 6. 8 is larger, and it's positive, so my answer is positive. So again, those are your rules for adding and subtracting. Remember though, guys, you do have your calculators. And in your calculator, if we were to put these in, the negative symbol is here. -3 plus a -5 is equal to -8, right? So I can always use my calculator. You are never not allowed to use your calculator. Sometimes it's just nice to know these rules in the back of your head so that if you need to double check yourself, you can kind of do that. Okay, so if we keep going, my rules now for subtraction. So if you are good with your rules for addition, your rules for subtraction should be kind of the same because they really are no different. So your rules for subtraction are, the first thing you're doing is keep, change. And I'll show you what I mean by that. And step 2 is just that you are going to follow your rules or use the rules for addition. So if you know your rules for addition, you should be pretty good with this. So if I have Okay, so if we have negative 8 minus 4, we're going to keep the negative 8 the same. We're going to change the subtraction to become addition. And we're going to change the positive 4 to a negative 4. Okay, now we just use our rules for addition. So we have the same sign. So we're going to add 8 plus 4 is 12. And we're going to keep the sign, which was negative. So with this one, again, use the calculator. If I do negative 8, and now just be careful because this is a subtraction symbol, minus 4, I get negative 12, which is what we got as an answer as well. So those are your rules for subtracting. Okay? Now multiplication and division, they kind of follow the same thing. If you are multiplying numbers that have the same sign, you're just doing straight up multiplication and you're going to get a positive answer. If you are multiplying numbers that have a different sign or dividing numbers that have a different sign, it's a negative answer. So an example of both of these would be, let's do negative 8 times negative 2. So these are the same sign. They're both negative, so it will be a positive 16. Here, if I did, let's just do the same numbers, negative 8 times a positive 2, it would be a negative 16 as an answer. Okay, so that's an example of same sign positive, different sign negative. Okay, so the 0 rule is when 0 is in the numerator, your answer is always what? So the numerator, you have to remember, is the top of a fraction. Stylus is not working very well. So if it would be like me doing 0 divided by 5, and again, try it in your calculators. So if I type in 0 divided by 5, I get 0. So the answer is always going to be 0 when this is in the numerator. If 0 is in my denominator, which is the bottom of my fraction, so let's just say 5 over 0 now, and I put that in the calculator, you have to think of what a fraction is. So 5 divided by 0, I'm going to get this error message saying you can't divide by 0. Because think about what it is. We can't take 5 parts of nothing. That's what this fraction is saying. So what we say this is it's undefined. There's no definition or answer to this when that occurs. Okay, so what you're going to do here is you are going to just use your calculators. That's my easiest piece of advice. Or if you want to try them without a calculator and then check yourself with the calculator, you can. So this is just pure practice. So the first one, A, negative 3 plus negative 3. Again, I'm going to show you one. Negative 3 plus a negative 3 is a negative 6. Okay, the next one, B, negative 2 plus 8 is positive 6. C, negative 6 plus 1 is negative 5. Hold on, the bell's going to ring, so I'm going to spare you the ringing of it. So I'm going to pause. Okay, so we're back. So again, keep going. We have negative 4 plus a positive 4 is 0. So for the next one, you can clear out your calculator if you want to just have it fresh start here. We have 6 plus, and I'm just going to show you how to use parentheses if you see them. So parentheses are here, and then you do negative 3, close the parenthesis, hit enter. So my advice is if something is written a certain way, try to type it in exactly how you see it, because it will kind of help you in the long run. So there was the next one, 8. The next one is 6. Now just be careful you're not using a negative symbol. You're using the subtraction symbol here, 10. And you get negative 4. Okay, and the same thing for the next one. It's negative 3, and then it's minus 8. One of the biggest mistakes is not typing it in the calculator correctly, which is why we do this practice. So now again, guys, pause the video, and you guys try this now. Again, here we go with over here, there's a lot of negatives and positives. So or double negatives. So again, you could use the rule of keep, change, change here. And I'm just going to show you one of them. So 4 would stay the same. I'm keeping it. My subtraction changes to a positive, and the negative 6 also changes to a positive 6. So I'm really just doing 4 plus 6, which is 10. If I do it in the calculator, it would be 4 minus a negative 6, and I get positive 10. So the next one, if I do it in the calculator, it's negative 2 minus, parentheses, negative 8, and I get 6. Here, same thing, type it in the calculator, practice this. You are allowed to use this calculator whenever you want, right? So you're going to type it exactly how you see it. Notice in your calculator screen, the negative and the subtraction symbol, they do look different. So you want to make sure you know the difference between them. So 7 plus a negative 3 is a 4. Now be careful with the next. We have 3 terms here, negative 12 minus 7 and then plus 4, negative 15. Okay, we have 4 terms here. So negative 5 minus 6 plus 2 and then minus 11. You get negative 20. Okay. Now we get on to multiplication here. So obviously they have parentheses around them just so that you're not confused as to if you're subtracting or multiplying. I would type them. Exactly what's written is what I would get in the habit of typing. It will just keep you more organized and ensure that you're getting the right answer, I think. Okay, so same thing here. We're just going to use the parentheses, and we have negative 15. Okay, guys, so I'm moving kind of quickly. It's all calculator work, right? So here, again, use your calculator. So this side is all multiplication. It's a little confusing. So if you don't get what I get as an answer, pause and look at how I typed it in the calculator and how it's different. So negative 5, and then we have 0. Anything times 0 is 0, guys. That's one of our properties we'll eventually talk about. So the next one is a long one, so make sure you take your time and that you're checking as to what I'm typing and it matches what you're typing. The best way to get good at this is to try it. Okay, math is all about practice and trying it. So here we get negative 144. We have negative 2 again. So I'm kind of just moving along and I'm kind of talking as I'm doing it. And see, look, I already messed this up. So I'm going to go back. I want to delete, right? I could also just clear. They're 2 different functions. Might be easier for me to just start over. Negative 3. So we get 24. All right, so now we get into these exponents here. So I just want to show you how to do this in the calculator. So parentheses are super important when we're dealing with exponents. So we're going to put that negative 1 in parentheses. And to get this 3 that's an exponent, we want to hit this up arrow here. This little, I call it a caret key. So if you hit the caret key, you'll notice that your cursor just got small and it kind of raised it to be an exponent. And you can input your exponent there to get, and then hit enter. So again, you're trying this a couple times to get used to using this calculator. So this would be positive 1. Okay, again, make sure you're using the parentheses here because it will give you a different answer if you don't. Doesn't look like a 1. There we go. Okay, the next one. We get negative 1. Okay, so now this here, what I want to show you here is we could just type this in as division. So this is negative 25 divided by 5, and I would get negative 5. This is also a fraction. So the other way to do this and type it in as a fraction is we could hit y equals, oh, I'm sorry, hold on one second. We would hit alpha y equals, and you're going to get an option for a numerator over a denominator. And if you hit enter, you will actually get to see a physical fraction, and you can input your numbers and hit enter, and it'll do the exact same thing. So again, I think I wrote this on the next slide, but that was alpha, the green button, and then y equals. This is a super, super, super good function to kind of know, and then enter. And it allows you to put in a fraction. Okay, so again, you're putting these in the calculator. Negative 36 divided by negative 9, and you get positive 4. And here are your two zero rules. So zero's in the numerator here. 0 divided by 8 gives me an answer of 0. But here's the opposite. I can't take 8 parts of nothing. So I get this error, which is undefined. There is no answer here. It's undefined. Okay, so here I did type it here. To get a fraction, so this is how you get a fraction in the calculator. So again, we're practicing this calculator really in this lesson. So you're going to practice typing these in. So the first one we're going to hit alpha, y equals, and then enter. And you're going to do 3. Use your arrow keys to work through your fraction and then arrow out of the fraction. 3 over 11 plus alpha, y equals, and then enter again. And then 7 over 20. What's nice about this is it gives you your answer in fractional reduced form. So although these are huge numbers, it's technically in simplest form. You cannot make this any simpler. So it's nice using the calculator when you're dealing with fractions because it really does kind of reduce them for you, simplify them for you. You'll always know you're in lowest terms. So now the next one, alpha, y equals, enter. When you're dealing with that negative, make sure you put negative 5 over 4. We're subtracting, and again, alpha, y equals, enter, 3 over 4. And we get negative 2 here. Okay, same thing for the next one. Just keep practicing this. Alpha, y equals, enter. Now I have a fraction, and it's negative 2 over 3. And we are multiplying. Alpha, y equals, enter. Now I have a fraction, 5 over 4. And we get negative 5 over 6. Okay, so the next one, we have 1, forgot to hit alpha, y equals, enter. We have 1 over 9. And then divided by, I'm going to put the 1 first and then do alpha, y equals, enter. And we're going to put the 1 here. And then it's 1 over 3. And again, follow my keystrokes as I just did that. You can see where I'm clicking. And we get 1 over 12. Okay, so this is practice with fractions in our calculator. Please try this. Don't just skip this section. And now you have your practice problems. So again, I'm just going to do these quickly. Negative 100 divided by 0. This is my undefined. I'm going to do a text box for this because my pen does not work well with typing. So this is undefined, your answer for that one. Okay, and then you're going to use your calculator really for the rest of them. But this one here, 0 divided by 50, that's your 0 answer. Go back to the calculator and you have negative 8 plus 12 minus 9 plus 4, negative 1. Then you do the next one, 7. And again, use your parenthesis feature. It is going to be your best friend in terms of negatives and multiplying. And you get 336. Okay, here's another exponent one. So negative 4 is in parentheses, negative 2 is in parentheses, and then you're going to hit the caret 3. You get 32. Okay, now we have fractions again. So it's alpha, y equals, enter. And it's 5 over 9 times alpha y equals enter, and then it's 7 over 15. So you get 7 over 27. I already did number 6, and now the next one is 6 plus 8 minus 6 plus 2 minus 2. Get 8. All right, so there's a little quick trick for number 8. You notice this 0 here? That 0 there is going to wipe out everything that's being multiplied by it, and you're just going to get 0 as an answer. So you don't even need to type that one in if you know that trick. Okay, number 9 is negative 4 raised to the second power. And then we have negative 2 raised to the second power, which gives us 64. Okay, we have another fraction one. So we have alpha y equals enter. We have 1 over 9 divided by alpha y equals enter. And we have negative 1 over 9. And we get negative 1. Okay, guys, so again, this was a lot of calculator practice. I hope that if you are still struggling with the calculator, you ask me a question in person in class. You are going to have a supplemental worksheet for this lesson.